Welcome to Toastmaster Time, the show that's got everybody talking. My name is James Jeffley, and it's my privilege to be your host for this edition of Toastmaster Time. I'm also honored to be working with someone who's a veteran of this show, and he's serving as our evaluator. Please help me welcome Mr. Dave Orris.
Hello, James. Today we will be mixing business with pleasure. Joy Montgomery is a business analyst and an expert in her field. Today she'll be sharing some valuable information with us. We also have with us Tanya Jansen. Now, Tanya always brings a lot to the table, and today is no exception. She's brought flour, sugar, butter, all kinds of tasty things, and I'm so looking forward to evaluating her performance and even the finished product.
I'm looking forward to hearing these two excellent Toastmasters tonight. Right now, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Tanya Leigh Jansen. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Thank you, James.
How long have you been a Toastmaster?
Since 2006, so almost a decade.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you belong to a specialty club, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Tell us about your club.
I belong to Laugh Lovers Comedy Club. It is in Oakland. We meet the third Sunday of each month at St. Paul's Towers from 6 to 8 p.m. We really focus on honing in your humor. So we have headliners each month that come out and teach us the craft, and then during the second part, we get to practice what we've learned. We were formed in honor of John Cantu, who is a famous comedy coach, and he coached legends at the Holy City Zoo, including Robin Williams. And our motto is, "You can too be funny."
A great play on words. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your speech tonight. I understand you've cooked up a wonderful speech, and
Yes,
I hear that it's something we can sink our teeth into. Are you ready to give your speech?
I'd be delighted.
Wonderful. I will give you a moment to take your spot, and in the meantime, I will tell our viewers what to expect. Ladies and gentlemen, we structure our shows here at Toastmaster Time in a manner similar to how our Toastmaster Club meetings are held. We have a prepared speech within a specific time frame, and afterwards there's an evaluation where we provide helpful feedback. And here to tell us more about that role and our first speech is our evaluator, Dave Orris. Good to see you again,
James,
Dave.
thank you.
So tell us about Tanya's speech.
James, Tanya is working out of one of the advanced manuals, and the manual is Speaking to Inform, project number 3, titled The Demonstration Talk. So her objective today is to demonstrate and clearly explain a process or product or activity. So ideally, when she gets done with her speech, you and I will both be able to duplicate what she's created over there.
And what makes a demonstration speech a bit more challenging than let's say, a regular Toastmaster speech?
First of all, a demonstration speech falls back on the basics of organization. Not only organization, but preparation and anticipation. She needs to anticipate the audience's needs, their understanding of her terminology, and that sort of thing. Also, the preparation was intense because of the fact she's doing this on television. She had the entire crew working with her beforehand, even days beforehand, to assess the needs, the camera needs, and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, but I'll be mainly focusing on her presentation.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to her speech, and I'm looking forward to your evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tanya Leigh Jansen with Devilish Delights. Devilish Delights with Tanya Leigh Jansen.
Does the idea of preparing a treat for a haunting Halloween feast turn you into one unruly beast? There's no need to panic or scream. Cast these spells for a sweet dream. Let my sorceress apprentice and I show you the tricks to transform your fright into a devilish delight. These techniques will enchant and entice your phantoms and your most daunting demons. For our first cupcake, mum's the word and there's no denial. We're off to Egypt to raise our yummy mummy from his grave with our tequila sunset cupcake. This cupcake was modeled after the tequila sunrise. It's a tequila sunrise cupcake filled with a cherry tequila filling. What we're going to do is give our mummy a face. My assistant is using the spatula to spread a flat surface for the cupcake, after which she's going to pick up a pastry bag with tip number 18. And this is important because tip number 18 allows you to make things like stars and zigzags. So we're going to give the mummy some bandages here. So she'll hold it at a 45-degree angle and just place a few bandages around the bottom and the top of his face. And she'll just keep going like that until it's done. And so there'll be no surprise. We'll give the mummy some eyes. We don't want him to be a cyclops, so we'll give him 2. Next, we're going to show you how we would fill the cupcake. We would use a core to take the center out. So you would push it down into the cupcake and remove the centerpiece. And then spoon some filling in. For the top, we have an orange tequila buttercream icing. And we're going to give it a classic swirl. Sprinkle some silver beads around them just for fun. And top it with a little mummy decoration. Now we've truly raised the mummy from his grave, and hopefully we will not incur the curse of King Tut. Next, we will be going from the east to the west, where our clumsy witch has been put to the test. These are our chocolate cupcakes filled with vodka and raspberry. And this one's already been pre-filled, and we're going to demonstrate the classic swirl. So Tabitha is going to take the pastry bag with the tip 1M, hold it at almost 90 degrees at the end. She starts on the outside, makes the swirl around the inside, and comes up to the top. And for the next incantation, you might need a little bit of what we in Toastmasters call practice. Just like with your speech, to make these witches' feet, you would need a candy mold, and you would paint the chocolate in and attach a pretzel stick, because we think that all our delights should be edible, so there's no hidden surprise there. And we will have the witch clumsily landing with her feet up in the air. For our last cupcake, we will return to a haunted house, because after all, even ghosts need a place to dwell. We'll pick up the tip with the green icing. This is tip number 352, which is your grass tip, and we'll start putting some grass on it. Tabitha loves this one because she likes to say that you can do the grass as sloppy as you like, which isn't always true, but it works for this cupcake. But I don't think ghosts are spending a lot of time mowing their lawns, and can give your haunted house some extra nice surprise. So she's dotted that on, and we've made some haunted houses, but first she's going to fill up the boneyard, just for a little extra scariness. So she sprinkles it with bones, adds a house chocolate that we made from another mold, and this was an easy one where you just melt the chocolate in, and then you pop it out and painted it with some luster dust. And of course, to be truly haunted, it needs a ghost. So remember, the next time you're tasked with bringing a treat, cast our spell to bewitch and beguile.
Well, that was a lot of fun, Dave.
It was very entertaining speech. I wasn't expecting so much entertainment. out of a presentation like this. But
As I was watching, I had this thought in my mind about the Olympics where with some events they give an extra score for the degree of difficulty. What would you say the degree of difficulty was in doing a speech like this?
on television like this, I'd say it was astronomical.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts to this. A lot of prep work had to be done, coordination in the studio, timing and rehearsal, in addition to pulling off the speech itself.
Correct. But I think Tanya did an excellent job in anticipating all that and countering all the challenges. For example, when you're giving a demonstration or teaching someone how to do something, it's very important that they know what the finished product is going to look like or what the end game is. She already had that. Now, I don't know if the camera displayed it. We'll see that later. But she had it on the table, so I'm going to assume the camera brought that out. Now, when the student goes to make that cupcake, they not only see what the finished product looks like, but they saw them go through all the steps.
Right.
I thought they did an excellent job of explaining that, even going down to the pastry tip sizes and the angle that they apply the icing.
Yeah, I love the specificity, the detail. They were very clear in their instructions. And if you're sitting at home watching this, you have a great idea of how to actually construct these ghoulish little treats yourself.
Absolutely. I believe I could do them now.
I think you could, Dave.
A couple of questions I had, though. She used a coring tool to remove the center of one of the cupcakes, and she mentioned luster dust. I'd like her to expand on that a little bit. I don't know what luster dust is,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's tasty. I'm looking forward to trying it.
Well, we call that one to grow on. Well, I'm looking forward to our next speaker, but for now we have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Toastmaster Time, a production of Toastmasters District 57. We'll be right back.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
And welcome back to Toastmaster Time, the show that's got everybody talking. Our next speaker is a member of the Amador Valley Toastmasters Club. Please help me welcome Joy Montgomery. Joy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James.
How long have you been a Toastmaster?
I've been a Toastmaster for over 30 years.
30 years.
Yes.
That is impressive. In your 30-year experience, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned?
The most valuable lesson for me was to help stay and help change other people's lives the way mine was changed.
And how was your life changed by Toastmasters?
I was invisible.
Wow. Say more about that.
Wow. Terrible shyness.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that happened in my childhood that made me feel like the best thing was to not have people notice that I was there.
But Toastmasters allowed you to break out of that, and
Here
look
I
at
am.
you here. Look at you now. Well, I'm looking forward to your speech. Are you ready?
I am.
I'll give you a moment to get your spot, and while you do that, I'll tell our audience a little bit more about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an international organization that helps people overcome their fear of public speaking, develop their presentation skills, and become a better leader. If those are goals of yours for your personal or professional life, then I would suggest that you join Toastmasters. We're in 14,600 clubs worldwide, 126 countries, and if you want to learn more, simply visit toastmasters.org. I'd now like to welcome back our evaluator, Dave Orris, who's going to tell us about our next speaker.
Well, James, Joy, although she's been a Toastmaster for over 30 years, is setting a great example because she's going back to the basics. As we all know, the basics are so important. She's given a speech project out of the Communication and Leadership Manual, project number 2, which is organize your speech. What I'm looking for out of Joy, among a number of things, is her outline, her opening. I want a strong opening and a conclusion that ties it all together. and also clear transitions between the different points that she's about to make.
Very good. Well, I'll be listening for that too, and I look forward to your evaluation. Now, please help me welcome Joy Montgomery with Funding the Future. Funding the Future with Joy Montgomery.
Doom and gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom. That's all we hear about. People talk constantly about problems with the environment, problems with oil, problems with all kinds of different things. But I am one of the luckiest people you know, because I get to spend my time with people who are filled with hope and enthusiasm, people with solutions. As the Western Region Mentor Chair for the Clean Tech Open, I work with different companies all the time who are starting out as technologists with ideas and need to learn how to present their ideas as a business model to investors. Now, not all projects are appealing to venture capitalists and angel investors, so I'll tell you about 3 different stories. 2 years ago, we had Michael Burrs with NZinc. His product is a zinc air battery. Never heard of a zinc air battery before. But when Michael was doing his pitch for the mock judging, one of the things he talked about was combat. One of the reasons that a lot of our veterans come back so horribly wounded is that they all carry around a battery that's 40 to 60 pounds and is pretty much a bomb strapped onto them. If the battery is hit by a bullet, it blows up. A zinc air battery, as Michael explained, is flexible, could be any shape, could go in the sleeve of a uniform and not impede movement in someone's arm. When I asked him what happens if a bullet hits that, he said, well, the soldier will be wounded and the battery won't work as well. Who wouldn't want to help someone with something like that? It's not attractive to investors, but it could be attractive to us. Last year we had Ice 911. Dr. Leslie Field has a way to slow down the melting of the ice in the polar cap and possibly reverse it. She's looking for support for that. For Michael, it's probably grants. For Dr. Field, it's probably crowdfunding. Now this year we had a fellow who started his pitch with, my story begins when my Land Rover broke down in the Kalahari and I had to live with the Bushmen for a while. Not many of us are ever going to say something like that. It gets your attention. What he learned from the Bushmen is that in an area where it's dry, it's one of the driest places on earth, there's never a shortage of water for the people who live there. They're able to barter and to figure out, over thousands of years they've been doing this, exactly who needs water at any given time. And they do it all very fairly. He has figured out a way to apply the same kinds of rules in what we consider a more civilized world where we don't know how to share. So you have 3 completely different companies, and there are so many more who are doing so many different things. Crowdfunding is one of the ways that a lot of these things will happen. Some of you haven't heard of crowdfunding. Others say crowdfunding. Crowdfunding funds video games and music and stuff. It doesn't do anything serious. If you get online and you Google crowdfunding, you'll find a lot of really worthwhile efforts that are going on. Worthwhile efforts that you can take part in. You can also take part by becoming part of the Clean Tech Open. We're an 8-month-long program that helps people understand how to present their company as a business. And it helps to make them attractive to investors, or able to tell their story effectively to a crowdfunding audience. For the program, what we need is volunteers who mentor. We have different kinds of mentors. There are generalist mentors who spend the whole 8 months, 2 to 4 hours a week working with their teams. There are specialist mentors who are available to answer questions on the spur of the moment. Someone might say, you know, I need a little help with my financial predictions and everything. And we can come right away with someone who can help them with that. then some of the specialists are technical experts. So if you're talking about something like converting carpets to fuel, there are people who know how to do that, who already do things like that, and they can answer your questions if you're just starting along that path. There are opportunities for volunteers who don't have to be experts. They just have to be personable. They have to be willing to get out there to help the teams when the teams have a question and help them go through the system and understand how the whole program works. Then there are people who can sponsor an event. They might just have it at their own company and say, we'll put out some food, you can come in, we'll have some speakers, and we'll bring attention to the whole project and maybe make some connections with people who have solutions and don't know what to do with them. So check out the Clean Tech Open. It's on the web, and you'll see the most amazing things you've ever seen.
Another wonderful speech. You know, one of the things I really appreciate about Toastmasters is how much I learn every time I go to a meeting and I hear a speech like this.
I have to agree. Before this speech tonight, I thought crowdfunding was a pickpocket at the airport. Joy brought out so much information. Actually, there's a lot of more information that she knew that she couldn't put into a 6-minute time frame. So she took a very smart approach. She organized her speech to pique our interest and let us know there are ways out there to fund these great ideas that we have that might not be really attractive to investors. And now we have an avenue that we can go to for follow-up to learn more.
Exactly. I really appreciated that she told us she was going to give us 3 stories. She told the 3 stories. She gave us an intro before that, and at the end she gave us a place to go to learn more about this or perhaps to even get involved. So it was a very easy to follow organizational structure for me.
Right. Now here's something, an advanced skill. Her title included alliteration. It's Funding the Future. Alliteration meaning the repetition of a letter, in this case F. She used 2 F words in her title. Much more impactful than a title that says how to get money for your new company.
Right. Didn't we hear alliteration earlier?
We did. Devilish Delights.
Devilish Delights. I think there's a theme here, and it's an effective one. Well, we have to take a short break, but I appreciate your evaluation and your comments. You've been watching Toastmaster Time, a production of Toastmasters District 57. We'll be right back.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time, the show that's got everybody talking. Dave, we've heard a couple of great speeches tonight. We've heard an advanced speech. We've heard one from the beginning communication manual. What are some other overall impressions from what you've heard tonight?
My impression is this. You never stop learning with Toastmasters. You continue to apply what you've learned every step of the way. We've witnessed a 30-year Toastmaster tonight using a lot of advanced skills into a basic speech project. I think it was really wonderful how she displayed that.
Absolutely, and we also saw in the earlier speech with Tanya how you can incorporate humor into a demonstration speech and do it effectively.
She did humor and the rhyme. Did you notice she was presenting her speech as a poem?
She really was, and it was memorable, it was effective. A speech doesn't have to look like or sound like all the other speeches that we've heard. They get to be unique. They get to be different and creative, and that's one of the other things I really appreciate about Toastmasters is we get to experience the diversity and the variety of everybody's viewpoint and experience.
Speaking of creative, did you see the outfits that her and her assistant were wearing for that cupcake decorating?
I love the hats and the aprons and the shoes. Just it all worked together.
Right. In fact, I'm sure anybody watching this particular show is going to realize that this was filmed in October.
Probably, and you know, it's certainly suitable for Halloween and trick-or-treating and all of that. But no matter what time of year, you know, you'll probably have to put some snacks together for an event, and perhaps people viewing this can learn something from what they saw in the demonstration speech tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can decorate those cupcakes now. There's one thing, though, that Tanya didn't, I don't think she presented her cupcakes. She told in her summary that she was going to show us how to take ordinary cupcakes and turn them into something extraordinary. Now, I've tasted her cupcakes. There's nothing ordinary about them. They are extraordinary.
Well, I hope at the end of this show we'll get a chance to experience the deliciousness of those cupcakes for ourselves.
Well, I'm glad you're thinking that way. I'm trying to put a little bug in your ear.
It's already in there.
Okay.
I appreciate people who take risks, and especially in Toastmasters, we get to see people take risks, not only with content, talking about new and creative and elaborative things, but also, you know, doing demonstrations like this. Dave, it's been a pleasure working with you again. I look forward to serving with you in another episode. Ladies and gentlemen, if you live here in the San Francisco Bay Area, or if you're visiting and you would like to participate in Toastmaster Time, please contact us on our website, toastmastertime.com. To find out more about what's happening in Toastmasters District 57, you can visit d57tm.org. And to learn more about Toastmasters in general, you can visit Toastmasters on the web at toastmasters.org. I'd like to thank our speakers again, Tanya Jansen, her lovely assistant Tabitha, Joy Montgomery, our evaluator Dave Orris, and all of the crew here at the Media Center in Palo Alto. For all of us here at Toastmaster Time, I'm James Jeffley, encouraging you to join Toastmasters and speak up.